right, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's up? Do you like this thing?
Do I like this thing?
Yeah, what are your thoughts about it? How do you feel about it?
Um, I don't think it's gonna kill the person.
Yeah, I don't think so either. What
It
else do you
almost
think?
it almost looks like it could be like acne. I don't know. Like it's just like this there's inflammation surrounding the area. There's this keratinous not like true cyst because there's no granular layer, but like this keratinous ball in the top epidermal layer. It's like
There's a
extending
lot of
down.
fluid in there.
Mm.
All
And it
this?
looks like it looks like it's neutrophils as well.
Yeah, there are some neutrophils in here. You could see it's kind of a, what do we call like this, a fluid-filled thing about this size in dermatology?
Vesicle,
Yeah, vesicle.
relatively fluid filled with neutrophils, so you could say that it's pus. I mean, it could be acne.
What do you think about this sebaceous gland?
Oh yeah, I mean the sebaceous gland itself also looks like not great. There's a bunch of neutrophils there as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like dying.
Hmm.
Anything, any other type of cell in this vesicle that looks interesting?
Looks like it is multinucleate. Like
Yeah. What else? What else about it? See how is it more basophilic on the outside or the inside?
More basophilic on the outside.
Okay. And how they're molding together?
Yeah. Oh, molding. So there's molding, margination, and multi
Multinucleation.
multi-chromatic or something.
Multinucleation, margination, and molding.
Okay. You're getting at HSV.
Yeah, it's herpes.
Okay.
Vesicle,
Fine.
herpes vesicle. And yeah, so the point of herpes can infect, you can get that in the hair and it can destroy your sebaceous glands.
So if this was like
Follicular herpes.
if this is like regular acne, Avi, would we just we could have saw that vesicle with neutrophils, but not necessarily the multinucleated marginated cells we saw, and maybe not necessarily the destruction of the sebaceous gland either.
In acne?
Yeah, like
So
if I
this
get
will
okay,
be, so if it were just neutrophils here, it would just be a pustule.
uh-huh.
It wouldn't necessarily, acne is, it doesn't, not all pustules are acne.
Okay.
Typically, the neutrophils too are going to be down in that hair follicle, and it won't be vesicular. Won't have a
Got it.
big vesicle.
Got it.
And then these guys are usually zoster, right? Because zoster virus travels up a different set of nerves compared to simplex when they involve the hair follicle. And
Oh, okay.
this was like Nick Galati's diagnosis as a resident. He always got this.
Yeah.
He was like, so this column of necrotic hair, or like what looks like a column of necrotic keratinocytes, which is usually it's a hair. You guys recognize the sebaceous glands. And I think you go superficially, you can see a little bit of the hair shaft. So anyway, it's usually that's what it is. There's the hair shaft.
Yeah. What do you think about this one?
Also on the scalp, there's a lot of hair follicles here. But then
Yep.
there's like that weird thing that's going on in the center follicle.
All
What's like
right.
all like what's all that?
What is it? I don't know.
Oh, it's like calcium almost.
Oh, no, it's not calcium. This, I'm talking about this thing over. What's this? It's like really dark,
Yeah.
pigmented. Like a
Is that pigmented cast?
yeah.
So
Oh,
it's
so
usually associated with trichotillomania, I think.
Now is pigmented cast like the only thing?
no.
Okay, what else? What else on else any
Al-
differential?
Trichotillomania, alopecia areata, I think can cause pigmented casts.
Yeah, yeah, it can.
And I think that's it. I want to say androgenetic alopecia as
I think in
well,
some
but
cases syphilitic alopecia can give you it too.
syphilitic. Okay.
But okay, so you see, you have trichomalacia, you have pigment casts,
Traction.
traction.
Traction. So then if we want to see like to differentiate between trichotillomania and alopecia areata, we could go to like the hair bulb,
Yeah,
and there's looks like a swarm of bees.
where?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. Exactly. Okay, so we're probably favoring either traction or trichotillomania in this case. This ended up being trichotillomania, but yeah, that's the way to approach that.
So Avi, would there have been no way to kind of know that unless I like like if I didn't see the swarm of bees and like, oh, trichotillomania, would have been any other like clues to lead me to trichotillomania?
Well, a couple of things that you can look for. So you can look for pigment in fibrous tracts. You can also look for sometimes you can even see the follicle kind of like being warped. It's hard to describe. It's like almost like you can imagine if someone's yanking their hair out, there's like a distortion of the architecture of the follicle itself.
Uh,
And sometimes you can see hemorrhage also near the bulb.
or like from the polling.
Yeah, like sometimes now this might just be procedural. I don't think this, I'm not sure what to make of this. But sometimes, yeah, from the polling you can, because it's right near where the papilla of the blood vessels go. So sometimes you can see, like here, these blood vessels. You see this blood?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's a finding you can see as well in trichotillomania. And basically, it's just they've yanked their hair away from the vessel that's supplying it, and so there's some hemorrhage that comes with it.
Collapse of the inner root sheath is something too. I don't know, Avi, if you have a
Oh,
picture of
yeah.
that.
Um, well, okay, so there are certain things that people talk about the inner root sheath, like collapse of the inner root sheath, premature desquamation of the inner root sheath.
No, just collapse of the inner root sheath. That's something different where you have
Oh,
the hair shafts have been yanked out, so you won't see that little, you know, clear area. You'll have, the inner root sheath will just be,
kind of like
there won't
just
be. It'll be like
hanging around
collapsed. There won't be any
Yeah,
hair
okay.
shaft in there. There won't be a defect in there where the hair shaft was. It'll just be this tight, compressed inner root sheath. So that's a very characteristic clue of trichotillomania and less so traction. Which we
Gotcha.
don't have it in this, but
Yeah.
yeah. I'll show you a picture tomorrow.
Yeah. I want to see that. All right. What's different about this type of section?
This is a transverse section or like a
Yeah, they're coming.
Z-
They're coming at you at the z-axis.
yeah.
So how do we approach these? Well, the first thing is, where are you? What level are you at? It happens to be it's a trick question because there's different levels for each different hair here, but we'll get to
You're
that in a moment.
at the level of the sebaceous gland,
Okay, that's important because what
which
does
is
that define?
I feel like that's usually like at the top.
Junction, yes.
It's like it's above the erector pili muscle, or maybe at like that same level.
Yeah, so like if I were to let me see if I can get you a good example here. Need a sebaceous gland to match everything up. And this one doesn't have it because of what the diagnosis is. Okay, so here's a sebaceous gland, here's an erector pili muscle. But anyway, look, are you at the bulb? Let me ask you this. We're going back here.
No.
Okay. So where do we start? So the hair, we start with our hair anatomy. And so what are our different parts of our hair anatomy in terms of levels?
There's the infundibulum.
Okay. Where
Which
does that
like
go from what to what?
that's like gosh, like the epidermis to the Oh, sorry, I don't know if I was muted. To, like the
No, no, I hear
sebaceous.
you. To the sebaceous, yeah. So the epidermis to the opening to the sebaceous gland, that's your infundibulum, and then and then what comes after your infundibulum? Sorry, your sebaceous gland.
After the sebaceous gland is the erector pili muscle. So like
Okay,
that,
and between those 2 points, between the attachment of the erector pili muscle and the sebaceous gland, you have what?
the isthmus.
The isthmus. Okay, so the sebaceous glands are uh are basically the point at the infundibuloisthmic junction where they attach.
Exactly.
Good. Okay. Now that being said, so we have an idea of where we are. Is there anything you notice about these hairs? Well, let's talk about hair. So what are you going to look for in terms of hairs?
Maybe like hair density and hair
So
thickness.
number of hairs, okay, and thickness, size of the hairs. And what else are we going to assess?
Inflammation.
Inflammation. Okay, so tell me about the number of the hairs.
Looks fine.
Agreed, looks fine. Tell me about the size of the hairs.
Pretty strong. I think they're bigger than the inner root. I mean, there is no inner root sheath, but there's no reference. But it looked pretty thick.
It looks what?
Healthy.
Healthy. Like these are normal size hairs?
I would say not then.
Well, look, I mean, what's like look at the size of the sebaceous gland. Like, look at this.
Yeah, the sebaceous glands are huge next to the hairs.
They're massive. And then what are these guys doing up here? What are these? Is this what we see in the infundibulum or isthmus?
What are those like Bellis hairs that you're?
No,
or-
these are like bulbar. We're getting to the bulb in some of these hairs here.
Oh, okay.
Why is that?
Because they're miniaturizing.
Yeah, because they're up. So there's variability both in the size of the hair and where they are at the level.
AGA.
AGA, exactly. Yes. So you picked up that there's no peribulbar information because you got that because there's variability in where they are in the depth of section. You oriented yourself to which level you're at, and so you're able to figure all that out just on one transverse image. Isn't that cool?
Cool.
Now here's how you're going to see it if you're signing out with us. So what's this? So, number?
Fine, but
Fine.
very
Size?
small.
Small. And again, see how this is all the way up here? It's supposed to be all the way down here. AGA. All right. What happened here?
Lots of inflammation.
Lots of inflammation. Okay. Yes. What else is there?
Almost looks like a splinter.
Well,
I
splinter would
guess
be that's
what
plant
could be like.
material. Does
Oh,
this plant look like plant material? Or like or anything? Like this is there this looks something like you might see that's also here and here.
no.
Like what about here? What's this?
What was like previously a hair follicle?
That's a hair follicle. And what's this? That's inside the hair follicle coming out of the hair follicle?
Is that pigmented cast again?
Well, it's not a cast. There's pigment in it, but you know, it normally has pigment in it in a lot of people.
I think they're floating.
There's what?
They're floating? No.
No, this is a normal structure. This is a hair shaft. So there's a hair follicle, but inside the hair follicle, you got a hair shaft. Otherwise, you're not gonna. How do you make hair? How's your hair going to come out? If it's not making hair shafts. So these are all hair shafts. But what's wrong with these hair shafts?
Inflamed, like fibrotic.
Well, are they
Um,
where are the hair shafts supposed to be, and where are they?
They're like,
Here, look, you see this one?
yeah,
See
it's
that?
like gone.
Wait, but this is normal. Look.
Hmm.
See this hair follicle? This is a hair shaft. That's where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be in the follicle. There's two places supposed to be: in the follicle and out of the body. Is this in the follicle or out of the body?
Neither. Not in the
Neither.
follicle, nor out of the body.
Yeah. Okay, so you have free hair shafts. There's also a reaction. What kind of cells are these?
Oh, you're getting at like follicular secalvins or aciniculatalis nuclei.
Oh, okay,
Well, yeah,
we'll get
we're
there.
getting there. We're getting there. Multinucleated giant cells.
Yeah, they're reacting to the foreign material. And and you see describe the collagen all over here.
Fibrotic,
Fibrotic. Okay, it's very dense. You
aka,
see how this,
yeah, I
what?
know we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm thinking AKM because it's leading
Okay.
up. It's like, you have the inflammation, you have the fibrotic stroma,
You have the rupture
the
of the hair follicles, you have
the
the
hair
breakdown of
shafts.
hair shafts. So this is everything for AKN. And by the way, you see the architecture of it, right? Look at what's the architecture.
Like keloids.
Mhm.
Like it's not a keloid, but what's the architecture? It's not a true keloid. It's like it's that. What do you see when you see AKN clinically? Describe it. You see bumps, right? Like
Yeah, multiple
papule nodules.
skin-colored fibrotic nodules and papules,
Yes,
usually on the neck.
yes. And what shape does this have? See, here's normal.
Nodule
Yeah,
or
nodule,
papule.
papula nodule. It's like either a papula or a nodule, depending on the size. But look, it's coming out. You can see it's like this is what a clinician's going to see. They're going to see a papula nodule. That's the architecture of it here. So this has everything for AKM. All right. What do we see here?
Again, lots of inflammation.
Agreed.
The hair, where is it? I have no idea.
Well, there's a hair follicle here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened to the hair follicle?
Torn to shreds by all the
Yeah, and what kind of
inflammation.
inflammation do we have here?
Neutrophilic.
A lot of neutrophils over here. I agree. So there's neutrophils here. But there's something else here too. What kind of cells are these?
Plasma cells.
Plasma cells. So we have there's a lot of plasma cells as well. There's also what's the collagen here?
Fibrotic again.
Fibrotic, yeah, there's fibrosis. And if there were multiple hair follicles here, some would describe this as not just perifollicular fibrosis, but interfollicular fibrosis.
Ooh.
Fancy. Okay, and by the way, what else do we notice about this hair?
Oh, there's like two hairs. Oh, is this HS? There's like two like follicles here. Or like
There's two hairs going into one. Okay, so you have a double over here, but that's fine. Does that not, but does that mean it's HS?
No, I'm just thinking of like the double-headed comedones that you would see in HS, I guess.
Well, point is there's going to be multiple hair shafts coming out of one follicle. You can see that if the hair shafts go back in here.
Is it polytrichia?
Well, there is okay, so there is going to be a find. This is a finding. There's going to be polytrichia, but that's not the diagnosis in this case. It's not going to explain everything going on here. It's just a feature you see in this entity. And by the way, is the inflammation more top of the follicle heavy or bottom of the follicle heavy?
Top of the follicle.
Yeah, it's like so infundibulum isthmus, not as much in the bulb to doing bulbar. Okay. So what process, and there's also some acanthosis of the epidermis, which has also been described. So what gives you all of that? What gives you rupture of the hair follicles, a large neutrophilic infiltrate, plasmacytic infiltrate, with not just perifollicular fibrosis, but interfollicular fibrosis, and all the other features of the scarring alopecia as well. You'll notice there's no sebaceous glands here as well. So what are we thinking? What kind of scarring alopecia can do that? What are our scarring alopecias?
There's cicatricial,
Okay.
or CCCA, which I do not believe this to be. There's lichen planopilaris, which I also do not believe this to be.
Good.
There's folliculitis decalvans,
Okay.
which I think that this could be.
Good. Yes.
Yay!
We got it.
Okay.
Folliculitis decalvans.
Yes.
Okay. Is there what other scarring alopecias are there? Is there similar to folliculitis decalvans?
Traction alopecia, depending on who you ask and what time of the day.
That's not very similar to folliculitis decalvans, though.
Dissecting cellulitis of the scalp.
Yeah. Now this unfortunately also looks top heavy, but let's look at down here. So this we're high up top, where here's our sebaceous glands. By the way, see how there's this dilated duct over here? That's something you can see. That metaplasia is something you could see in these scarring alopecias. But the interesting part is when we really get down below. When we get to the level of the bulb, what happened here?
Armageddon. Chaos.
Like,
dead bodies.
What kind of tissue does this look like? Does it resemble?
Like almost like a malignancy. It just looks so bad. I don't know.
Like after you did a procedure, after you do a procedure, a wound or something.
Like an ulceration or like a curettage or
that, and what has like these red blood vessels. It has them and some vascular structures in it, some red blood cells, this loose type of stroma, edematous. As a wound is healing, as it's granulating. Granulation tissue. Yeah. So the level at this hair is resembling granulation tissue. Otherwise, and there are a lot of other similar findings here. Like you also have a neutrophilic infiltrate. There's going to be plasma cells here. And there's going to be a lot of similar findings. There's going to be a lot of similar findings to the folliculitis decalvans, but it's deeper. We have some giant cells here too, by the way, and here's some free hair shots. Follicles ruptured again. But this is more bottom heavy, resembling granulation tissue down here. What does that tell us? Sometimes you can start getting sinus tract formations here. Well, we already said an example.
This is HS.
Well,
Or
HS you can get
dissect of the scalp. So
dissecting cellulitis of the dissecting folliculitis. Dissecting cellulitis of the scalp, yeah. And by the way, you're not, when you mention HS, it's related in some way. What way is it related?
Part of the follicular occlusion triad.
Yes, it's part of the follicular occlusion tetrad. And what is the follicular occlusion tetrad?
Let's go through it.
Let's do it.
Pilonidal cyst, HS, dissecting cellulitis of the scalp.
Mm-hmm.
What am I missing?
What are you missing? You're missing one more. Think of the face, on the face.
Oh, acne conglobata.
Acne conglobata. Very good. That's your follicular occlusion tetrad. Okay.
Inflammation for days.
Inflammation for days. Okay, let's classify. Where is the inflammation?
It's pretty high up, but it also kind of like involves the entirety of the hair shaft.
Okay. So there's superficial. There's also, by the way,
Oh, some like pigment dropout.
there's pigment dropout. There's some vacuolation of the DEJ. It's not, might be burning out, but there's some subtle interface changes here, or maybe some burnt out interface changes. And then this. So superficially perifollicular. And and what cells are they?
Lymphocytes,
They're lymphocytes. Yeah.
jet black.
Yeah. Some people disagree. Some people see blue. But anyway. So when we see superficial and deep and around adnexal structures with some changes reminiscent of a interface dermatitis, like what's the number one thing that we're thinking of?
LPP?
I'm sorry, what?
Was it lichen planopilaris?
DLE.
Or
DLE.
oh,
So like
DLE.
yeah, so LP in LPP, would LPP have this?
That's a pigment dropout.
Yeah, well, it's not gonna so it's not gonna do an interface dermatitis at the epidermis. You get and it's you got
It can. It can, Ivy.
can?
Pretty
Okay.
rarely, yeah, it can do it. And so sometimes you're left looking for mucin, or what it's not going to do is like the periacrine, the DLE would. Very small subset of LPP can do that. I can't imagine that would
Interesting.
show up in a boards exam, but anyway, just so you know,
Okay.
okay?
Gotcha. No, that's important to know. Then yeah, I guess you do a DIF, but actually I don't even know if that'll help at that point.
No, you still have the mucin, and then
Yeah, you have the mucin.
yeah, DLE you might get infiltrated around the eccrine glands, whereas you're not going to get that with LPP with the epidermal involvement.
Ooh. And this is the worst case because these eccrine glands look good.
Yeah, so you're left looking for mucin.
Oh man. Oh, that's horrible. I never want to get a case like that. All right. And this.
More of the same.
Well, is it the
Inflammation.
same?
And that's, I mean, inflammation and
Yeah. Well, first of all, is there an interface dermatitis here? In the epidermis?
Yes.
Where?
So then no.
I mean, look. What do we look for interface dermatitis?
Vacuolization, pigment
Okay, do we have that
dropout.
here? You see the vacuolization here, right?
Yeah. You see the pigment dropout. You see the
Okay.
dead reds. Okay. Yeah.
Do you see any of that over here?
No.
Okay. Okay, so that's one difference. Where's the inflammation?
Perifollicular, but it's like in the mid dermis, the deep dermis,
It's the
almost
whole
down all the way
follicle.
to the
Yeah.
it's like down to the fat.
Okay. Notice anything about this inflammation?
I think they're more lymphocytic predominant.
Very lymphocytic predominant. Anything odd about the lymphocytes?
Look, maybe. Is this a follicotropic mycosis fungoides?
Yeah. Yes. And look, you're picking up on that. Look, see that? It's folliculotropic. But if you wanted to prove it to yourself, well, how would you work this up? I mean, look, you see the lymphs. It's like the epidermis, the lymph in every hole, but it's the follicle epithelium instead. So, what kind of stains we gonna get?
CD3, CD4, CD8, CD7. I guess you could get.
Yes, that's a very important one. What are we
Yeah.
getting CD7 for?
because it's the first to be lost in mycosis
Yeah,
fungoides.
we're going to look for a loss. Now, there's always some diminishment of CD7, but if it's extensive, if it's extreme diminished, if it's turning off and on the lighter, to sort of say, then that can clue you into the diagnosis of MF. And there's TCR, but that's not an immunohistochemistry state. CD 2030 is also part of our MF workup. So CD3, and not surprising, the lymphocytes are diminished. They're going into the hair follicle, right where we expect them to be. So the CD3 lymphocytes are going into the hair follicle. I mean, you see that right here, right? Follicular tropism. Now we have CD7. And now let's do side by side. So here's your CD3. Here's your CD7. You notice anything?
Yeah, that's diminished. The CD7.
The lights on, lights off, lights on, lights off, right?
Mhm.
Right? Because so that goes for our diagnosis of follicular tropic MF. Okay. All right, let's orient ourselves. Where are we?
Did I just see the erector pili?
Okay, there are erector pili. Yes.
So it's probably between. I guess it's probably in is isthmus or
Yeah, there's also this
sebaceous cell.
sebaceous gland, and it looks like it's kind of on its way out. There's not a whole lot of sebaceous glands here.
Mhm.
Okay, so we have an idea of what level we are. What else do we know?
It looks like the hair density itself is pretty diminished, as well as like the actual hair.
Okay, like in this area, there's a diminution.
Yeah, and the hair follicles themselves are miniaturized. Like the actual width is small.
There's a more striking feature here.
The inflammation,
Yeah, there's inflammation, and we already know what level we're at.
the isthmus.
Yeah, some in
Isthmo.
variability, but some in the infundibulum, some around the isthmus,
Mhm.
the bulge, and there's fibrosis.
Mhm.
There's some
Indicating a scarring alopecia.
Yes, and what scarring alopecia might that be?
Is this LPP?
Yes, LPP.
Yes. Come on, let's go.
And so this just correlates. So see, there's what are these hairs missing? I mean, this still has it, but it's on its way out.
So just to clarify, guys, we can't
Yeah.
distinguish between LPP and CCCA microscopically. Any of the like the scarring alopecias, if lymphocyte predominant, we can't do it. Some people use premature desquamation of the inner root sheath, and you'll read about that as something specific for CCCA, but you really need clinical to help you out.
Yeah. So Sperling says the inner root sheath desquamation. I don't know if that's what this is, but just a heads up, guys, if you're signing out with NEAT, don't ever mention premature desquamation of the inner root sheath. Because he'll go on, we'll delay sign out and for like 10 minutes going on how that's not a thing. So, but yeah, I mean, so LPP, CCCA, scarring alopecia. And this is what you see over here as well. If this is just giving you more orientation. Okay.
Transverse section.
Yep, transverse section.
Maybe at the level of the infundibulum. You have a lot of sebaceous. Yeah, you have a lot of sebaceous glands.
Okay.
The hair follicles themselves are small. There's not a lot.
They're miniaturized.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of inflammation at this level.
Okay.
Um,
We want to see it at another level. What about this level?
oh, little swarm of bees.
Yeah.
Alopecia areata.
Okay. Yes, this is alopecia areata. Very good. What about this? So where are our hairs?
Gone. But not totally gone. I mean,
This.
eaten
This.
up.
Now there's other hairs here, obviously,
Mhm.
and they're miniaturized. But what's going on here? What phase are these hairs in?
I don't. This doesn't look like a flamethrower, and that's what like points me to like telogen.
Okay. Okay, so a telogen shift. But
Uh-huh.
notice see how these hairs? So they're not anagen. We agree they're not anagen hairs. Now we can
Yeah.
quibble over whether they have catagen, some catagen features, or whether they're like late, whether they're catagen or telogen exactly, or some crossover. But we agree they're not anagen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so there are multiple hairs that are changing phase in this at the same time, like in a similar time frame. There's a shift. Do our hairs normally do that? Do our hairs normally like shift phase at the same time?
No, they usually all kind of like one enters another,
Yeah.
or
What
yeah.
what
Oh,
would happen? What would happen if our hairs just shifted phase at the same time?
something called telogen effluvium.
Yeah. Well, if all our hairs did it, it would be even worse than telogen effluvium. What would happen is all your hair would grow out all at once, and then all your hair, literally all your hair, would fall out all at once. And then they would start to grow back again all at once. So we don't do that. But in this case, there's a pretty big telogen shift. Well, what's your diagnosis?
Telogen effluvium.
Ah, that's the trick question. And that will be on your boards. They love asking this, and telogen effluvium is an option, and it's the wrong option.
Damn. Ruthless.
Yeah, I know. So what process actually gives you the highest the highest telogen shift, more than telogen effluvium even? It's baloney if you don't take my word for it.
Can you get that in alopecia areata as well?
Yes, alopecia areata, and if you look at the breakdown of all these different things where they try to break down the ratios and stuff, the highest one of every source I've seen is alopecia areata, even over telogen effluvium, over.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel it's like maybe like 50% in alopecia areata and like telogen
So when
effluvium is
you
like
see
20 or 30.
yeah. So when you see this is like think of alopecia areata, a devolution of the hair follicles in the same phase. Think alopecia areata, and even if you don't, I mean that's something that strongly favors it. So it's
Damn.
not just it's not the only sign is not your swarm of bee sign. There's other things that clue you into.
Hmm.
Okay.
Inflammation.
Okay, where is it?
Bulbar inflammation.
All right. There's bulbar inflammation, I agree.
What kind of inflammation? Lymphocytic?
Yeah, there is lymphocytic inflammation here. There's something else. There's some other things here too, though.
Plasma cells?
There's plasma cells.
Hmm.
What does that mean? What do we have to be worried about? Looks like
Syphilitic
alopecia areata,
alopecia?
but the swarm of bees have plasma cells. What could also look like alopecia areata clinically?
I think he said it, Avi.
Oh, he
Oh,
said it. Oh my, I didn't hear it. Then. Oh,
syphilitic
okay, syphilitic
alopecia.
alopecia. Yeah, I didn't hear it. Sorry, you're right. I just didn't hear it come through.
Why are you ignoring me, Avi?
I apologize. I'll try. I'll do better. Yes, good. Okay. Okay.
In that last one
Yeah.
too, Avi, I think the
sure.
infiltrate up high can help out too. So even with like syphilitic alopecia, there's usually something else going on besides just the pseudo swarm of bees. But anyway, all right.
Yeah, you got pseudo. Yeah, I mean, there's a superficial cardiovascular as well in this case. And all right. What do we see here?
Like mixed infiltrate. It's like histiocytic. Some lymphocytes.
Uh-huh. And there's their evacuation of the.
Yeah,
Is there a dead red?
yeah.
Okay. And where is the inflammation?
Like more superficial, so like infundibula.
Yeah, like in the infundibulum area.
Yeah.
This is not one of those super rare cases where we have also involvement of our non-follicular epidermis, fortunately. What are these hair follicles missing? Well, they're not missing erector pili muscles because you see them right here.
Sebaceous glands.
Sebaceous glands. So we're thinking. So is this going to be a scarring or non-scarring?
Scarring.
Scarring alopecia, like
Mhm.
LPP or CCCA. Okay.
Damn.
Damn, that's right. Yeah. A lot going on here, huh?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of infiltrate here.
Yeah. He's almost more infiltrate than man.
Yeah, he's more infiltrate than man at this point. Okay, so what kind of infiltrate are we seeing? It's mixed.
Yeah, it's definitely mixed. Histiocytic, maybe a few newts.
There's definitely newts here. I see.
Yeah, some lymphs as well.
Okay.
Like a lot of
So
stuff.
we gotta work. So what are we thinking when we see like this mixed infiltrate? There's a lot going on, but I think we found something. So what's got to worry about infection, right? I mean, we see all these neutrophils. That's one thing we got to worry about. What's this structure? What structure has a outer root sheath, an inner root sheath, a hair shaft, a hair follicle,
Mhm.
right? Okay, what happened to this hair follicle?
No, so you got like eat. Oh, this is like stuff in the actual hair itself,
In the hair what?
in the actual like the
Hair
hair shaft.
shaft.
Yeah.
Okay, what's in the hair shaft?
It looks like it's a bunch of like eosinophilic material, or like it's like pinky or
It's pink. It's staining. Okay, it's eosinophilic. Do you have an idea what
yeah.
that might be?
Oh, eosinophilic
It's
folliculitis.
basophilic in some. It's like purple, really. It's like,
Wow.
but sure. But what do we think they are? I mean, like there's a circle, a circle in some areas. There's like they're lining up like this. What goes in hair? What might be lurking in a hair shaft?
Fungus.
Yeah,
Is this
there, like-
Majoki's
yeah. Some like my yoga, fungal folliculitis. What stain are we gonna do?
EAS?
Okay, let's do it. So you can look. Sometimes you could find it adjacent. In this case, wow, we're all the way down here. Man. See it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's all your little height thing.
Yeah. All right. That's it for today. Good job, guys.
Thank you,
Great
Avi.
job,
Yeah,
Avi.
I'm sad that we're going to, but it'll be next. We'll be back next week. I
You
promise.
will you will be back. Are you Avi, are we doing this like right before like Christmas Eve and
Oh, that's a good question, actually. That's
I mean, I don't know if you are observant of it.
it doesn't really matter what it matters what your chief resident has on the schedule and what everyone else is going to do. So let me talk to the chiefs and we'll figure that out. I'll get back to you.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Avi.
All right.
Bye. Thanks.
And thank you. Shane. All right.